What is up, guys? Rick Kackis here. Thanks so much for stopping by, and today I sold my soul for a sparrow. I destroyed my spare time. I lost my wife for a sparrow in Destiny 2. I mean, maybe some slight exaggerations there, but after grinding all three characters to their majestic legendary set of the Solstice Armor, you are capable of getting the EV-37 Voidstreak Sparrow. And I gotta be honest here, I'm sure there's gonna be some people in the comments being like, oh, I already got mine, I beat mine. I went hard on my first character for sure, but my other two characters, I really didn't go like that hard. I mean, I would sit down and do 10 Gambit matches, like all in a row, just bang them out when I had the opportunity to do so. But I also like went up an entire prestige in COD World War II. That's what I'm playing right now, because Black Ops 4 is a complete microtransactions mess. And out of principle, I'm not going to play that game ever. But that aside, I just kind of want to talk about this Sparrow, this reward, the grind, the whole multiple characters issue, Solstice. So let's talk about it. So the EV-37 Voidstreak, again, you get it for all three characters getting their Majestic set, and it does have a pretty unique perk where enemies will aggro on you less when you're on the Sparrow. So potentially where if you're on a normal Sparrow and you drive by a group of enemies and you just get like destroyed by the snipers, y'all have been there. The hobgoblins turn into phase hobgoblins and they just snipe you as you're going by. That will happen less with this Sparrow, and it's a pretty rare perk. The other Sparrow I'm thinking about that does have it is the exotic one from the Scourge of the Past raid, which is very difficult to get, has a super low drop rate, so that's kind of cool. But in terms of appearance, it's only a legendary Sparrow, so it isn't that insane looking. The void effects on the front are kind of cool. I like how it's a Daito, a brand Sparrow. And if you're wondering, you know, using this in the open, does it have any cool trail? No, it has like the most boring average trail behind it you can possibly imagine. I thought, since it's the Voidstreak Sparrow, that it would be like a void trail behind it. Honestly, I was kind of surprised to see it's just like totally normal. So that's the reward you get for probably maybe around 50 hours of in-game time grinding. Maybe less for some, maybe more for others, but that's a pretty substantial time commitment for this reward. However, of course, the argument to that is, you know, it's just a cosmetic reward for something totally optional. You know, this isn't a gun you're trying to get. This isn't an exotic armor piece and stuff like that. This is just purely optional. You by no means need to do this grind like whatsoever. So the reward doesn't necessarily need to be fantastic. And that is a definite point. But it also is really interesting that stuff like this Voidstreak Sparrow, is Bungie kind of admitting to the fact that a lot of people out there, I'm sure a lot of you guys watching, have multiple characters, have one Titan, one Warlock, and one Hunter, right? Because the gameplay experience on those different characters is so different. You playing Titan feels very different than you playing Hunter. And so a lot of people do have all three characters, and they do things 3 times over, and this can really like exacerbate. Hold on, is that a word? Exacerbate? I think it is. Let me look it up.
Exacerbate.
Yeah, it's a word, baby. Exacerbate. Make a problem, a bad situation or negative feeling worse. Yeah, that's what happens with multiple characters. It can exacerbate certain grinds. Grinds seem like they're often designed to just do on one character, but that it's not a realistic approach. Most of us, again, have 3 characters, so you're gonna have to do the same grind 3 times. And I'm very surprised that, you know, 3 years almost into Destiny 2, 6 years almost into the Destiny franchise, there's almost nothing to relieve that sort of feeling of grinding multiple characters. Again, I mentioned this in my previous Solstice videos when I talked about the grind itself, and I think that the things I said in that video ring true. Number one, it is good that Bungie gave us a lot of time to do this grind, but Like I said, the actual grind itself, if it's unfun every hour you play, it doesn't matter how long you have to do it, that's still somewhat of an issue. And I still believe that there should have been more of an emphasis on creating and producing the elemental orbs. That would have been a little bit different than just doing 10 strikes is a little bit boring. Getting 1,000 orbs in strikes would have been more fun, more engaging. You would have played a little bit differently. Also, I said there should have definitely been more choice involved, where instead of doing strikes, you could have done 10 strikes or 20 daily missions, for an example. The option between Gambit and Crucible was nice, but it disappeared after that. And after doing the whole grind myself, I 100% agree with that. Even more so, it was so frustrating when I was playing with someone, we did Gambit together, and then we're on to the next step, but he was a hunter, I was a titan, so I had to do patrols on Io, and he had to do patrols somewhere else, and so we can't play together. Like, that seems unnecessary. In any event, the point I made about multiple characters in that video was, for every character you do, it should lower the requirements for the next character by 20%. So you do 10 strikes the first time, next character you do 8, and the next character you do 6. Because doing something once may not feel super grindy and somewhat annoying, but on the third time, it may very well feel like that. And a lot of other games, like, The Division, for example, you don't even have multiple classes connected to characters. You have one character, and, in Division 2, you can switch between specialists for your one character. So you aren't having to do the entire story twice just to experience the different specialists. Whereas in Destiny, especially Destiny 2 launch with the starting campaign, you had to do the same campaign 3 times in a row. So I think that Bungie should be more cognizant of this is an issue for so many people out there, that potentially starting to introduce some things that makes it easier on people who have all 3 characters would be the proper way to go. And Bungie is obviously aware of this issue. That's why they make so many things account bound. You do them once on a character and it counts for all 3. However, this in and of itself is kind of creating problems because it's kind of avoiding the issue. Here's something to think about. Why is every single pinnacle reward a weapon? Have you ever stopped to think how cool it would be to get Strike or Vanguard Pinnacle Armor that had unique intrinsic perks that would give you advantages perhaps in strikes, and have that really cool Pinnacle Legendary Armor in the game? Like, how many more gameplay possibilities that would open up, but they can't do that. Why? Because unlike weapons where you can get it once and transfer it between your characters, for a Pinnacle Armor, you'd have to do that grind 3 times, and Bungie isn't quite sure how to solve this problem. Additionally, it is kind of a feels bad moment when the Sparrow is, I would say somewhat underwhelming, and the stuff in Eververse for this event is way cooler. Like, some of the exotic sparrows in Eververse are so much cooler than this Sparrow that you have to grind so much for. And I think that's a little, like, come on guys, replace this, put this in Eververse, and then take out one of the exotic sparrows that looks really cool and make that the reward for grinding all 3 characters. Like, I don't understand why they don't do that stuff more often. Like, it's totally okay for Eververse to have really cool stuff. You want to make sales there, but some of that cool stuff can make its way for gameplay rewards. I feel like the stuff you earn through actually playing the game is like the lamest looking stuff by far. Except for the armor sets. There's some pretty sweet armor sets, and some of the Eververse ones actually look worse than the other ones and stuff like that. But my point still stands, this Sparrow should have been one of the exotics that they made. But all in all, I still don't dislike this event. I think Solstice of Heroes is totally serviceable. I wish there had been some changes, perhaps. We haven't necessarily seen the end of this event. Potentially there'll be some things coming before it ends on August 27th. And again, that fact that it ends all the way to August 27th is going to give a lot of people the opportunity to get this grind done. On 3 characters, less likely, but on 1 character, for sure. I do really wonder if there's going to be something else big happening between now, potentially, and the end of Solstice, and of course, the launch of Shadowkeep, especially now that it has been delayed to October 1st. There could potentially be another exotic quest coming out. We did have the super amazing exotic quest and that whole new mission for the Outbreak perfected. Could we get something else in the time leading up to Shadowkeep. Unfortunately, we don't really have a calendar or timeline like we did with the annual pass stuff, where, you know, for something like Season of Opulence, it said there would be 2, you know, exotic quests coming or whatever, and then we kind of knew more stuff was happening there. But with this, it's pretty nebulous. We don't exactly know what's coming. Could be the Hawk Moon. Apparently, people saw that in the little teaser image for Season of Opulence. Of course, that could just be a random hand cannon, and there's a lot of conjecture with that sort of stuff. But I would like to see something else, because it was kind of surprising that Solstice of Heroes did not get extended when Shadowkeep was delayed. I thought potentially it would just be extended by 2 weeks, give people more time to grind, give people 2 more weeks of something to do, but it wasn't. So we just kind of have 2 extra weeks. They're throwing in an Iron Banner, and that's okay, I guess. But yeah, I really do wonder if they're going to be dropping some sort of hidden exotic quest on us before October 1st. I would say it's actually somewhat likely. In any event, just wanted to talk about this with you guys, and if you're wondering, is the Sparrow worth it, you've seen a bunch of it in this video, so hopefully you can make your decision. Guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed, found this interesting. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickKackis. That's linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.